Week 15, set 2, SWYK 2 starts off with a nice easy question for you, just asking about the possible rational roots. This is just trying to review with you to help you remember this. Factors of the constant go on top, factors of the leading coefficient go on the bottom. There's not a whole lot of options here, right? If you got the ones, everything gets divided by plus and minus 1, so all you're going to get is this group of numbers down here. Not a very tough question. I'm sure you'll get that one. Okay, moving on to a little bit more difficult question, but it's the same type of stuff, right? We're taking the factors of the 9, right? That would be 1, 3, and 9, both positives and negatives, and then the factors of the 33, which would be 1, 3, 11, and 33. Now, I've tried to color code this because... and I'll try to use a totally different color here. Tried to color code this. So I took the 1, 3, and 9, circled them in red, and then divided by, circled by the 1. So when I do that, I get plus and minus 1, plus and minus 3, and plus and minus 9. Hold on a sec. And so I tried to highlight those right here. Immediately, I saw this one right here, and that eliminated choice D, so it is not even a choice. Well, then I went to I took the 1, 3, and the 9, and I divided by the 3, right, using the dark green. And that gave me 1/3, and that's a new one. And so you'll notice that I circled those. Well, all my choices that were left, A, B, and C, they all had 1/3 in them. But then if you go to 3 over 3, well, we already have 3 over 3. We call it 1. And 9 over 3, we already have that one. We call it 3. So out of that group, taking the 1, 3, and 9 and dividing by 3, I only got one new one. We'll then move over to the blue here. We are dividing 1, 3, and 9 by 11. We're going to get 1 over 11, 3 over 11, 9 over 11. 3 new ones that have to be added. Well, ding, 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 you just found the right answer because, all 3 choices had 1 over 11, but only one of them had 3 over 11 and 9 over 11. Now, just for, argument's sake, we went to the last one. I circled that in orange. 1 over 33, that's where I circled this in orange right here. All of them had 1 over 33. Now, 3 over 33, well, that's 1 over 11. They all had that. And then 9 over 3, that's 3 over 11. They only had, which was a repeat, but only B has that one. So B is the correct answer. It has all of the pieces that we needed. So that's a more complicated list of numbers of the potential or possible rational roots of a polynomial. Obviously, the only way we'd really know would be either by graphing or by using the remainder theorem or synthetic division. So here we have number 5. We went through the rational roots, doing the exact same thing, right? That we just talked about, factors of 8, factors of 6, all that good stuff. And so 1, 2, 4, 8 across the top, 1, 2, 3, 6 across the bottom, and started matching everything up. It ends up that we have a pretty significant list, and choice C is the one that has the correct answers in it. You got the 1, 2, 4, 8, which got rid of B, but then we clearly see that 1/2 is a new one. That clearly identified C as the correct option. But you can see there's a whole lot of choices there, right? Who wants to plug all those things in and find out what zeros there are? Now, we can enter them into a calculator and see which ones give me 0, right? We can, this is the one I'm going to recommend, go to the graph. So we're going to take this thing and go to the graph. So I typed in my polynomial on desmos.com/calculator. And if you grab 2 points on the same axis, you can see how I'm changing just one axis. Okay, you can see there's the basic shape. We notice on the far left it goes through the x-axis at -4. Okay, now Could I stretch it out like this and see that it crosses not just where that little dip comes down, it touches twice, once on the way down and once on the way up. Okay, but it's not obvious what those are. If you come back here, what happened? Well, I don't know what's going on here, but my Microsoft Edge is having issues. Now, we found -4 to be a 0, so I decided that I would use -4 and do synthetic division, right? Carry down the 6 and multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. I ended up with a 0 over there on the outside edge. Great, that's fantastic. So I had 6x squared minus 7x plus 2. That can be factored. Now, I knew that I was going to be dealing with I knew it had to be a -2 and a -1 in order to get +2. Now, the reason they both had to be negative was they had to add up to a negative number, so that forced them to be -2 and -1. Now, I did not go through the Berry method on this because I had to think about what would multiply together to give me 6x squared, but would work with the outsides and the insides to get me -7x. So in this case, I did a little bit of guess and check. I was pretty locked into -2 and -1. Those are my only real options there. So, put this up here. Those are really the only options I had. So that's why I chose the 3x and the 2x. Set the factors equal to 0, as you can see at the bottom of the window, and then I started solving them. And we ended up with 2/3 and 1/3, or 2/3 and 1/2. Very close together, 2/3 and 1/2. That's why you saw that thing dip below and come back up, but they weren't real nice. Now, 2/3 and 1/2, those are in my list, right? You can see the positive 2/3 and the 1/2, those are in my list. They don't always end up being in your list, but they can. Anyway, that's it for this SWYK. See you on the next one.